a bit. Welcome everybody to Wise Women Wednesday. We've got for BRAVA Women Networking, we've got the amazing Cassie Canterford from the florist behind Flowers for Jane, which is in the Greater Frankston region, where she's been sharing her passion for flowers for 8 years. With nearly 3 decades of experience in the industry, Cassie delivers flowers for gifts across the region and teaches floristry classes for those wanting to learn the craft. She knows all the insider tips and tricks for selecting, preparing, and caring for cut flowers. Join her live and discover how to make your flowers work harder for you, whether you're treating yourself or creating something special for your home. Over to you, Cassie.
Hi, Dia, and hi, BRAVA ladies. Thank you so much for having me today. As you said, today I'm going to be making a floral centerpiece while I talk about getting the longest life out of your flowers and what to look for when you're buying flowers. When you make a floral centerpiece, I divide it up into 3 parts. I have foliage, my focal flowers, which I've got some beautiful Ecuadorian roses, and some filler flowers. So I've got some hydrangeas, some everlasting, and some other ones I'll go through in a second. So the trick to a really nice arrangement is the base, a foliage base. I love using a couple of different foliages. Now in this vase, I'll just pick it up, I've got some chicken wire. And that means you can thread your foliage through the chicken wire and it will hold it nicely. Pick the foliage from your garden. And as I said, I love using a couple of different foliages. Always cut the flowers and foliages on an angle, and that means you've got a larger surface area for the water to be sucked up the stem. Also, strip all the foliage from the stem that goes into the water, and that means that the leaves won't go all yucky in the water. So I'm just making the base here. Another trick to making a nice table arrangement or round arrangement is always turn it, because you want to look at it from all sides. So I'm just turning it here. As I said before, I've used a couple of different foliages. I've got viburnum, pitostrum from the garden. And I'm going to add a third one in for a little bit of colour. I've got some cute Dusty Miller. As I said before, always clean the stems, because look at that stem. Clean them off. If you don't want to dirty your hands, use a cloth to clean them. And that means you won't damage the stems and strip them as well. So I'm going to add a couple of these bits in. So then I've got my nice base. Now when you're buying flowers at the market, when you pick them up out of your bucket, I want you to say, look at the water. Is it clean water? Is there slime on the stems? Do they smell yucky? If they do, they've probably just been sitting there a few days. So don't buy them. You want to buy from fresh water, and also look at the stems and make sure they're not slimy. Now with these beautiful Ecuadorian roses, I'm going to strip the stems with my cloth. Pop them in, cutting on an angle. I'm going to try and make this so you guys can see the focals. And I'm turning to make these open a little bit more. Oops. You can just spin them around and they open up nicely. I'm going to pop in some hydrangeas, again, stripping the stems, cutting on an angle. That is the trick to it, really. You can add a little bit of bleach to the water if you want to, but you don't have to. The best idea is just to change the water every 2 days so it's nice and clean. The bleach will keep the water clean, and that's the idea of it. Some people talk about putting sugar in the water. You can do that too, and sugar, just like in food, is a preservative, and that's how it keeps the flowers longer. But the best thing to do is to change the water every 2 days. Now I'm popping in some filler flowers, and I've got some leucodendron silver balls here, which are really cute. A little bit more hydrangea. Now I love making arrangements of tonal arrangements when I'm talking about colour. So I've got some mauves. I'm going to put some Geraldton wax in, again stripping the stem. Floristry is really, really repetitive. It takes lots of practice. So you can't learn floristry and be a good florist by just making one arrangement. It's just practice. You can see I'm still turning this. Always stripping the stems, oxidase. And in my classes, I talk about all these things, but I also talk about flower placement. I don't get into the nitty-gritty of elements and principles of design, because a lot of people that do the floristry classes are just like to make the flowers for home. So we talk about colour, we talk about placement, making the arrangement visually pleasing. What else? I've got some cute Chinasini carnations. Now these Chinasini carnations, opposed to Sim carnations, these are grown in fields and these are grown in hothouses. So Chinasinis are a little less perfect. They've got a few more blemishes on their leaves. Sometimes the little petals at the top are coming off. And that's why they're usually a little bit cheaper than other flowers. But it doesn't mean they're less beautiful. So I've stripped that off, cut it on a point. All these flowers are threading through the chicken wire in here. And the great thing about having a little bit of chicken wire at home, sort of curled into a ball, is that you can use it over and over again as your base to hold your flowers in place. So pop them in. I might pop in now. These are really beautiful, everlasting flowers. They're a native flower. They dry beautifully, except they do have a lot of leaves on them that you have to pick off. Now you'll notice I'm like stripping off lots of foliage, lots of leaves, lots of bits, and that is the trick to making your flowers look nice at home for longer. When you get the flowers home too, and or you've made your arrangement, they should last about 5 days. That won't go through the chicken wire, so I'm just going to cut that into more of a point. Cutting it into a point makes it into like a needle to thread through. So there we go. When you get your flowers home, don't sit your arrangement in front of the air conditioner, because the flowers don't like drafts. It dries them out. Don't sit them near a heater, of course, because that again will kill the flowers and dry them out. Don't buy your flowers from someone that has got the flowers out near the road. Those flowers may be in the sun. They are breathing in all the petrol fumes. All those things kill flowers. Now, as your arrangement goes through a few days, some of the flowers will bloom and finish blooming while others are still opening. Now, what I want you to do then is to pick out some of the blooms that are finishing, because flowers and foliage are just like fruit and vegetables. Okay? Think about putting a ripe banana near your other fruit and veggies, and it quickens the ripening process of everything else. Flowers are the same. If there's one flower that is finished blooming and might be going brown or moldy or something, if that's left there, it's going to quicken the ripening process of all the other flowers, and you don't want that to happen. So you pick it out. So I'll put the everlastings in there. Now this is for a pink tonal arrangement, but I'm going to pop in these white sim carnations. If they're really, really tightly closed, we just sort of fluff them out a little bit. And I'm going to pop these more up the top because I have the white hydrangeas down the bottom. Fluff this out. I'm still turning my arrangement around all the time. This is a round arrangement and I want it to be seen from all sides. From the top looking down, it's round. But you'll also notice the flowers are curved around like a posy, like a basketball shape, and come right down to the junction or the tip, the top of the vase. Okay, now when I finish an arrangement, everything I send out has to be tied because you need to be able to change the water every 2 days and it needs to be easy to do, otherwise you won't do it. Let me just jump over here and grab some string. I just used twine, which I didn't prepare earlier. I'm going to pick up my posy. And yes, it's still got the chicken wire cage under there, but there it is from the top. And I'm just going to loosely tie around that. Now this is an arrangement that I would make for home. I wouldn't send this out for one of my arrangements that was sold on my website because I don't use the chicken wire. I would make a posy and put it in the vase. But for home, for you to design your flowers, this will make it easier. Okay. Even though this is a round arrangement, I always tell all my students every arrangement has a good side. So where would be the best side? I don't know. Maybe there. It shows off the really nice hydrangea. So that's how I make a floral centerpiece, and hopefully I've told you most of the things about choosing flowers at the market, how to get the longest life out of your flowers and process them when you get home, and how to keep your flowers in your home so they last a long time. So I don't know how I'm going for time, Dia.
That's
but
perfect.
I know we've got question time. So does anyone have any questions?
Oh, thank you, Cassie, because we'll take the questions offline. And if people want to visit you and your website, you've got national native flowers, and then you've got local Melbourne fresh flowers for the Melbourne people. So thank you again, and we'll look forward to blooming with you.
Perfect.